Well, hello everyone. This is Brian Sachs, and welcome to session 3 of the LO Unfair Advantage. It's a good time for you now to go back, revisit session 1, all about the 22 persuasion tactics and triggers. Go back and review session 2 and think about all the different ways that you can start understanding how buyers make the decisions, the three primary ways they make the decisions, and how you can use the multiple ways that we discussed to make sure they choose you. But one of the things I've always kind of hated about our industry is that we're sort of a one night stand loan officer. We close a transaction, and that's really pretty much it. There is no other revenue that can come. Unlike an insurance agent, an insurance agent, you get a life insurance policy or a car or renters, and they get a renewal every single year. Our business is very different than that. And as you know, we have to go on the hunt. Every time a loan closes, we better start hunting for new loans. So I want to show you sort of uh, tactics, strategies, thought processes. And this module is so jam-packed. It's got 180 slides, jam-packed with ideas you can implement. You'll see in the members area that we actually have the tools here for you to implement everything that you're about to discover and everything that I'm about to share. So let's talk about how we can go from being a one night stand loan officer to really exploiting all of the opportunities we have to do more business. I have a 3-step recipe for never having to beg for business. And I want to share with you the 3 parts. And we're going to break down and go very, very deep into each one of these 3 parts. Let me just make sure my sound is okay. If everybody can just type in yes or no, you can hear me. Just want to make sure the sound is okay. So this 3-step recipe is selling to the easiest customer you can sell to, being seen as the obvious expert using no cost or low cost methods. And this is not something I'm ashamed of. I'm actually proud of it. I am a shameless self promoter, and you should be as well. And I'm going to show you exactly how. So actually, let's go back to this for a second. The easiest customer you can sell to is the one who already knows you, likes you, and trusts you. And there are opportunities for repeat business. There's vacation homes, there's refinancing, there's renovations. But more importantly, every loan that you close, the people work with other people. They have family members, they have neighbors, they have an entire social network. And so they can obviously become a great, great source if you create them into raving fans. And I'm going to show you the process we use. Now, I have to say it because, I'm a big fan of picking a niche, becoming the expert, and letting everyone know about it. People that have had a bankruptcy, a credit challenge, or some other challenge, they truly become raving fans. When you do a loan for someone that has an 800 credit score, putting 30% down, and you got them a great rate and did a good job, well, good for you. You should. I want you to make sure that you're keeping a list of all your past clients, referral partners, realtors. That's listing agents and selling agents. There are 2 types of realtors we forget, listing agents and selling agents. And obviously you should have it in a CRM, but at a minimum, keep it in an Excel spreadsheet, do something, but keep it handy. You have to get your past clients to use you again and become what I call your sales army. And this is a very, very interesting statistic. Every month that goes by without you contacting a client, you lose 10% of your influence with them. We've spent a lot of time in the LO Unfair Edge talking about influence and persuasion. Well, after 10 months or 6 months, even in many cases, they forget your name. They forget the company. They forget who you are altogether. So when you do a loan, um, you need to make sure that you are constantly staying in front of these people. And you should be asking them for referrals. You should ask for the referral at application. You should ask for it during the processing of the loan. When you're calling them about the statement, by the way, rates are low. Shirley, I know you still have to, excuse me, send in your bank statement. We're missing a pay stub. You might want to have your insurance agent call and get our mortgagee clause. But, I'm just wondering, anybody at work talking about getting a home? Any of your family members thinking about it would love to get a referral from you. When the loan is approved, that's when they are ultimately the happiest. Make sure you're asking then. And depending on how the transaction went, the day of closing, everybody, even if they had a bad experience, is thrilled the day of closing. Now, you really should try to attend the closings because doing this in person is much more valuable, meeting that listing agent, re-engaging with that selling agent, reinforcing with that selling agent, reinforcing with the buyer, but all of those places are a good time to ask. You also want to make sure you're introducing yourself to all of the professionals involved in the transaction. There's usually an attorney. If they had a bankruptcy or a divorce, oftentimes there's a financial planner. If they're self-employed, generally there's an accountant. There's always an insurance agent. One of the ways I do this is and I'll show you this in a little while, I ask for the referral. I sort of try to force that referral, and I send a customer survey to the closing table. You'll see in a minute, send one in the mail as well. I actually ask that the attorney have on their instructions that should be signed at closing and completed, and there's a space on there for referrals. The day of closing, call the buyer, call the seller, call the listing agent, call the selling agent. Wish everyone good luck and ask for a referral. Tell them you look forward to working with them again on a future transaction. Here is a letter that I send when I meet with a client. So, thank you for the opportunity to discuss mortgage financing. Put cards in there. Even when you're pre-qualing someone, it's a great opportunity to ask for referrals. You should always be doing that. We have these We've Moved cards. Now think about this, okay? And you'll have all of this in your member area in session 3. This is actually an older one. I've now come up with, I use this, but I also use a newer version as well. When a loan closes, this is a really, really sneaky technique. Okay, so this is sent right after closing with movie tickets and a survey. But what it does is it forces the referral. We send them a We've Moved card. Anyone who's moved wants to let all of their friends know that they've moved. So we have it printed up with their name, their new address. As you can see here, we've moved. The Owings have moved, their new address. But right here is my name, my phone number, and my contact information. So what it's saying to their friends is, hey, look who did my mortgage. It forces the referral. It starts the conversation. And, you can get a postcard in any store. You can get a box of 200 of them for $5-6, print up 20 of them, send it to them in the mail with a letter. You'll have the letter here as well. This letter gets sent out after closing. I ask for 2 more referrals. And here's that survey, by the way. So, they have a place to rate me. Honestly, I don't really care how I rate. They have a place to rate me here. But here's what I care about. It's really a disguise asking for a referral. Here's what I care about right here. 3 names and phone numbers, and we include a self-addressed stamped envelope so they can mail it back. Really, really big idea. This is a letter we send to a listing agent at application. And even though I've called, even though I've sent them an email, I'm sending them a letter in the mail with my cards so they don't lose it, and propaganda sheets. Really, really important to do. And you'll notice here, by the way, it says every week I review all my loans and I will be providing you with an update. Pride myself on service and expertise. I've included some information about programs we offer, and I would be happy to meet with you and show you some of the tools I'm able to provide to my current partners. Now, think about that. You learned in the first module in session 1, you learned about curiosity. Well, that's all curiosity. I'm not even telling them what the tools are, but I'm saying I would be happy to meet with you and show you some of the tools I'm able to provide to my current partners. And that's, that's the hook, by the way. That's what gets them to do this and to call me. I have these movie tickets done at Regal Cinema. You could have it done at any cinema. And these are big companies. Regal's almost all over the place. They're United Artists, Edwards Theater. So what happens here is this gets mailed to them. They're $5 each. I send them 2 movie tickets and I send them a letter. And you see it's printed on the back, a gift from Brian Sachs. Here's a letter to the listing agent after closing. All of this, again, all of these letters are in the member area in session 3 for you to just copy and use. Denise, you have a question about the postcards. Can you type in what your question is? Well, actually, I'll unmute you. Okay, Denise.
Oh, hey, Brian. I just wanted to see a picture of it again, but is that going to be in the member area? Because then we can just keep going. So
absolutely. All of this is in the member area. I actually have some newer, sexier versions of it, if you will.
Cool.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is it's the front is just blank. The back is just, you can buy in the Staples or Office Depot or Office Max, just 4 postcards. Avery, 4 postcards to a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper, and just, send them 5 sheets. And it's, Denise D'Amato Sulzer has moved. Her new address is blah, blah, blah. And then it's your information at the bottom. So it's a very, very powerful tool. Here is a letter for the listing agent after closing. And so here, again, I'm using curiosity. Again, this is a listing agent. So, I don't really have a strong relationship with them, but I do want to meet with them. Among these tools are weekly marketing trainings for realtors, a special tool that will help your listings get more traction online, as well as other tools we can discuss when we meet. So I'm not regurgitating, hey, I can do blah, 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 blah. I want to evoke curiosity because I want to have that meeting in person. Nothing replaces that in-person meeting. The other thing is you should have a monthly newsletter. Now, all of us probably do some sort of online monthly newsletter. I would strongly encourage you to also, I would tell you once a month, but at a minimum once a quarter, do a print newsletter. Print, folks, no matter what you say, still very, very, very powerful, much more powerful than online. There is no spam filter. So you send it to past clients, to prospects who you pre-approved but have not bought anything yet, realtors, builders, referral partners, or any other spheres of influence. This is one we all seem to forget, by the way. People we have pre-qualified but haven't bought yet. Stay in touch with them so they don't become susceptible to working with other loan officers or other realtors. Referral partners must have their own newsletter as well so that you can, I'll show you why this is important. When I'm working with a referral partner, like an accountant, attorney, there's tons of them, an insurance agent. The first question I'm asking is, do you have a monthly newsletter? Because you can write for mine and I can write for yours. And it's a really, really big idea. Here's a sample of a client newsletter. It can't be boring. It shouldn't be that shiny, glossy, here is a recipe, because that stuff gets thrown out. It's viewed as crap. So you've got to do it in a way that it's not boring. It has to have direct response devices built in. It has to be something they look forward to reading each and every month. It should include testimonials from past clients, or what I like to call success stories. Again, I like to send it every month. At a minimum, you should send it once a quarter. Here's a sample of what a success story was. And a success story is, here's where this client was before. Here's the challenge they had, and here's what we were able to do to help them, whether it's a refinance, whether it's a 203K, whether it's a buyer who just had some sort of other challenge and we were able to get it worked out. Here's the recent iteration of this. It's called On the House. And there's articles in here for just about everybody, but notice there is a motivational quote. There's a game. I want it to be interactive. It's very, very important. It's not just a recipe and that it's not boring. Here are, just comics. This is a very long newsletter that I send. Financial tip of the month, health tip of the month. You could have a doctor write this. You could have a financial planner write one of these. Client of the month success stories. Quizzes. All of these things are very, very important. But here are the direct response devices where they can get a free newsletter subscription for their friends. And if you're writing a great newsletter, by the way, they will pass it along to their friends, as crazy as that sounds. But I'm also offering free reports that encourages them to get into my funnel. Here is a financial planner that I do business with. This is an article he wrote for our newsletter. I write for his newsletter. And the big thing there is that I'm getting free exposure to his list and I'm getting free content for my newsletter all at the same time. It's a really, really big idea. So, all you have to do is kind of put your name on a template and mail it out. Have a housewarming party. And this is one of my coaching members, Vicki Dean. I know that Denise is about to share with us something very special. I'll probably put it in the bonus section. But Denise is doing a really, really neat idea, and I can't wait to hear her results. But here is you can print out these slides. Vicki walks you through the entire process of doing a housewarming party. And basically what she does is she picks a client. She invites everyone that was involved in the transaction. She has all of the clients' friends and family come, and she sponsors the food and the entertainment. And it's just a couple hours, but look at all the contacts that she's making. Really, really important. So we've talked about the easiest customer and ways to continue your relationship with them. We're going to move on to secret ingredient number 2, which is being seen as the obvious expert using no-cost or low-cost methods. So let's talk about that. This is really important. When you're working with other referral sources, and I'm going to share some sort of ninja tactics with you I'm sure you haven't heard of before, but always remember this. Your referral sources are always saying, well, that's great, but what's in it for me? Too often you go to an account and you say, oh, we had a client in common, love to be able to do business with you. I do a great job. I have good rates, blah, 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 blah. Because that's what they're hearing, by the way. They're hearing blah, 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 blah. What you need to keep in mind is what's in it for me. Think about how you feel when a wholesale rep comes in and tells you how wonderful they are, how great their programs are, and all you hear is blah, 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 what's in it for me. So people you should be seeking out. Of course, I'm biased. I love the niche of boomerang buyers, so I'm always seeking out bankruptcy attorneys, financial planners, accountants, insurance agents, stockbrokers, other loan officers in your area, anyone else that has a large sphere of influence. But I'm going to share another one with you that I just skipped over. Religious figures with congregations. I've become very, very active speaking in churches, synagogues, and other religious institutions because now I come to their flock endorsed by their spiritual leader. Can you think of any better introduction? I'm instantly trusted simply because of that. Now, what I do is I try to rotate each month. So I send them a lead when I have the opportunity, and when I send them a lead, never, ever, ever assume. So most of us will send an insurance agent a lead and don't even think about it. I will call that person and I will say, hey, Joe, Shirley Smith is going to be calling you. She's one of my clients. I told her what a great agent you are. I told her what a great attorney you are. I told her what a great title company you are. I told her what a great financial planner. Make that extra step. It's so important to your success. And I actually create 2 or 3 times a year little mastermind groups with all of these professionals where we can all network together that I facilitate. Really important. Bring them together so they can network with each other, and it only makes their connection to you stronger. So when you're going after these referral sources, remember, it's what's in it for me is what they're thinking. So you need to be able to send them business. Remember, they should have a newsletter that you write for, and they should write for yours and rotate it. And now you can endorse each other without any costs or hassles. You only need 2 or 3 or even 4 from each group. So 3 accountants, 3 financial planners, 3 attorneys, if 3 insurance agents, 3 title companies. You start getting a network like that, and I promise you that's an extra 5 to 10 loans every single month. You can do joint mailings with them that make sense for each of you and are around timely events. And I'm going to share one with you soon. You could have them as a guest or sponsor on a radio show. Here's a script. I have clients who usually need your services, and I would like to meet with you to see if you fit the criteria of someone I would be comfortable referring. What does that say? Think about that. Let's talk about that one more time. Anytime you're going after a referral partner, print this out and use it. Joe, I have clients who usually need an accountant, and I'd like to meet with you and see if you fit the criteria of someone I would be comfortable referring. It completely changes the dynamic of the relationship. It's not a loan officer coming to me begging for business. It's a referral source that I now have to sell on being able to refer me. Do you see that big shift of power? It's very subtle, but it's huge. Makes a huge difference. We've talked over and over again about how words matter. Always make sure you're trying to help them build their business, not someone who is seen begging for business. And obviously think about your own service provider. Who do you use? Do you have a contractor that, electrician, a plumber, a roofer? Well, guess what? If you do 203K loans, they could be a great source of business for you. Or maybe they're doing a home improvement for someone, and that person would need to refinance and get cash out. You never know where these deals are coming from, folks. So look at your applications and find them and let them know you have a mutual client. I am not a big networker, I'll just tell you that, but you can go to networking clubs like BNI. It does work. It could be your neighbors, your friends, your local chamber of commerce, your own service provider. How about other loan officers? I constantly work with other originators. I work for an independent mortgage banker, so I am very active going to credit unions and small banks and other originators that I know aren't able to do some of the loans I can do. I work with boomerang buyers. Most credit unions don't. Most small banks don't. Most other loan officers don't. But I don't do reverse mortgages. I don't do some of the other products out there, and I'm happy to refer them. Again, I meet with my competitors because I don't see them as my competition. I see them as my peers. And I tell them that I am not trying to steal their relationship. All I'm trying to do is make them look good and make some money at the same time. And, we have breakfast once a quarter and we share. So here is an endorsed mailing, and I have this in the member area for you. Think about this, okay? What if, and here's how this works, by the way. Almost everyone that you do business with as a client needs an accountant. They now have mortgage interest to deduct. They're now going to itemize where they may have done a 1040 before. So I send an endorsed mailing for my accountants. I segregate my list into 3 groups. I send the 3 different segments, one for each accountant. And then I have the accountant send a letter, and I want you to write this down because this is so huge, it's crazy, okay? I have my accountants, I write the letter, I address the letter, I print the letter, I stamp the letter, and all he does is mail it. But basically, this accountant is, and you notice the time frame here, it's in February. And this is from one of my prior platinum members, Brad Cooper. But basically what we're doing here is the accountant is Michelle Irby, and she's writing, he is doing me and you a special favor. I begged Brad Cooper of Cooper Financial for a favor. I'm so happy he has agreed. Brad's schedule is always busy, but he agreed to set aside 23 appointments for a free no obligation consultation. Notice how we put a value on it. The problem is that I have 887 clients that I am sending this to, and Brad only has 2 slots. And so basically, you could use your tax refund this year as a down payment on a new home. So these people could be buying a house. We're sending a second notice just in case they forgot. Remember, we're doing all the heavy lifting. We wrote the letter, we printed the letter, we stamped the letter, and all the accountant has to do is address it if they want, and if they want, we'll address it and we'll mail it. But it's an endorsed mailing to that accountant's database recommending our services. And of course, we put in there free newsletter because we want people to be part of our newsletter. And, you know, again, here's an article. It's an article from a financial advisor. So big idea number 3, run junk ads targeted to your partner's needs. You know, I've run ads in the past that say if you have a credit issue or looking to get into a home with very little money down, an attractive rate, there are programs available, been turned down for a mortgage, we can help. Now you have to be very, very careful with CFPB and RESPA and so forth. So check this with your compliance department. But my point is, I don't really have programs for these people right now, but a lot of times they're calling with really, really bad credit, and you can then refer them to who? A credit restoration company, a company that deals with buyers who have IRS and then they negotiate federal or state tax liens, or a bankruptcy attorney, because you want all of those people referring you. You have to be able to refer them. And remember what you're going to do. You're going to call them and you're going to tell them that you've just referred so-and-so, okay? And of course, at application, tell your buyers that they will need some tax advice. Tell them that they, you know, you have accountants that will give them a free consultation. If you know they need a bankruptcy attorney, provide them with one. If they need an insurance agent, make sure that your referrals, my point here is make sure that your referrals are a two-way street. Again, going after these credit unions, they don't handle anything other than a 30-year fixed rate loan for buyers that have perfect credit, at least 10% that. You can help with their deals. Remember the what's in it for them. You're not going to be going after their clients. So, you know, have certificates made up. Make yourself, this is something to write down, make yourself easy to refer. Don't make it difficult. Have certificates made up. I refer my reverse mortgages. We do 203Ks. We do construction perms. I don't do commercial deals. So all of these, you know, sources. Again, a great source is also the credit unions and the small 1 or 2 branch banks. Here's a sample of something I have a builder giving out for me, but it can be customized for anyone, any relationship. So let's talk about secret ingredient number 3. Being a shameless self-promoter. Now, I am a big fan of advertising in targeted publications. I'm not a big fan of spending a fortune in the big paper in your city. In Baltimore, it's the Baltimore Sun, because you're paying for eyeballs that really aren't interested. So, you know, these papers charge by their readership or subscribership or viewership or listenership if it's radio or TV. But you only want a small segment of that group. Think about it. Anybody that's picking up a Homes magazine has some even active or latent desire to buy a home, right? So otherwise, I mean, why are they picking up the magazine? So it's just as easy to target the ones that go to the higher income zip codes. It's much more effective, and you should only advertise in targeted publications that your buyers might read. I keep, and you have to look, if you're going to advertise, you got to keep it in for at least 2 or 3 months to see if it's working or not. Don't put it in once and say it's great or it's terrible. That really goes for almost any marketing that you do. Drive them to a website or a toll-free number so that every penny you spend is trackable and your ad has to stand out from the clutter. See, most of the people in those ads are going, oh, I'm Brian Sachs. I'm a member of the President's Club. Here's my phone number, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to show you what ads actually work in a second. But test first with a half-page ad, and if it works, test it with a larger ad. Change up your ads. Don't become stale. Even the best ad will become old. And again, you can put in testimonials. You can have them call a number. Excuse me. It's all about testing. It's okay to test black and white versus color, but test all the time. And the offer is for a free report, insider secrets other lenders don't want you to know. When you're looking at these ads, most of the ads are just pictures and photos and a phone number. That's boring, okay? Use stories that readers can relate to. Offer a myth and then explain it. Use any expertise that you have, like as seen on Channel 11 or as heard on the radio. So here's a Homeview magazine, okay? Here's an ad. This is different than anything you see in these publications. Here's another ad. So look at this, okay? This is Hometown Realty, blah, blah, blah. But look at this. I'm offering free special reports as seen on TV. And there's a big difference there. Here's an ugly ad. Believe it or not, ugly ads work. Sometimes the uglier they are, the better they work. Again, the headline, free special reports. Now, here's something interesting. This is something I came up with called a mortgage myth. One of the mortgage myth is you need to have perfect credit to buy a home. Mortgage myth number 2, you need a large down payment. Think of all the things that you think of that are myths. And, I'm going to show you what you can do with those myths in a second. This is something called an advertorial, and this is really sneaky. So an advertorial is when you run an ad, but it actually looks like an article and just has a resource box at the bottom. So you want to make sure you're using the same font in the paper. You want to make sure it looks just like any other article in that publication, but in reality, it's an ad. Here's another one. See? Bankruptcy no longer means no mortgage. Very, very sneaky, but very, very effective. You can also do something called a tear sheet, which is really an article on newspaper stock. It still works, always has, always will, that you can send as a direct marketing piece. Just put it in an envelope and you put a lift note on it and put it in number 10 envelope. Thought this would be of interest to you, Jay. Why the letter J works, I have no idea, but it does work. And I want to go back here for a second, okay? These mortgage myths that I talked to you about, you can use these on TV. You can use them on a radio spot. Just to give you an idea, for a radio spot, right now in Baltimore, you can get a radio spot, a 30-second radio spot for like $20 that runs every time, $20 throughout the day. So if you pick the right station, it doesn't even sound like an ad. It sounds almost like a public service announcement, which makes it extremely effective because it goes under the radar. If you have I'm sure you do, you have cable TV wherever you are, and if you call that local cable provider, sometimes they can give you remnant ads where you're just sitting behind a table, and I'll show you a script for it shortly. Okay, but yard signs, I think we talked about this earlier when we talked about familiarity. Okay, so let it stay in the yard for up to 2 weeks after closing, and it shows that you financed their home. This sample mortgage minute and mortgage, could be a 30, this is what I'm telling you about, and I'm going to show you in a second, this mortgage myths, or you could call it a mortgage minute. It could be a 30-second radio spot, a 30-second TV spot. It could be run on a YouTube station and posted on Facebook and LinkedIn. It could be a newspaper or Homes magazine ad. When you're doing this, always ask, never ever pay retail price. Always ask for remnant, which means Look, when a paper's being printed or a radio station has dead time, they have to fill it with something. And that's called remnant, and you can often get it at a fraction, pennies on the dollar. So, I had a storyboard made up. Here's a Mortgage Minute with Brian Sachs. These are really just very short little tips, but they position you as the expert. And if you have no money at all, do it on YouTube, start your own channel, start promoting it on LinkedIn and Facebook. It'll cost you zero. Again, have breakfast with your competitors. Guarantee your service. Here's a really, really sneaky trick. Everyone lives near a casino, right? Why not take your agents? I live near Atlantic City. So why not take your agents on a trip? There's no cost, and there shouldn't be any sort of RESPA or kickback issue. The bus costs $800, has 40 seats. If you collect $20 from each agent, that's $800, right? So really it's free. And the agents will get back from the casino 20 to 25 bucks, but they'll bring their friends, they'll bring their spouses, and now you get to know them 3 hours up and 3 hours back. They get to know you as a person. Charge them 25 bucks and you'll make a couple $100 to gamble with. Have a book. It's all about positioning. And by the way, a book can be as small as 30, 40, 50 pages. It could be a book, and you could put it on CreateSpace and Amazon. But what it does for you is it gives you instant credibility. It becomes your business card. You could sell it. It's the door opener that gets you free publicity. It's a lead generator. See, I sell it on Amazon, but here it becomes a lead generation tool as well. Now I'm going to give you some tools here. You can self-publish your book, just research it, hire a ghostwriter. I'm going to give you an even bigger shortcut. Go to the CFPB website and just copy a lot of their materials. It's public information. So you can go to Elance or Workaholics or Fiverr.com or Upwork.com. If you need covers design, killer covers, or again, go on Fiverr. It's so simple, or CreateSpace.com. But now once you have it, you can start selling it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can start promoting it in TV and print, and you should be giving it out again as your business card. You can get it published. I don't encourage that. I'd rather tell you to self-publish it. But again, this is the key to you not being a one-night stand loan officer and actually really, really positioning yourself as an expert. You also should start working on your resume. So an interesting story, my first news article was because I was active in my local board of realtors. So when the paper needed a story, they called the board of realtors, and the board of realtors, because I was chairman of the education committee, asked me. I did make a mistake early on in my career in hiring an ad agency. They are literally just wanting to suck money out of your pocket. That's what they do. Like, sounds like a vacuum cleaner, okay? So, you really can do this on your own, but you got to build up your own resume. And then each one of these relationships gets leveraged. I'll show you in a second. So, you go from a small newspaper to a large newspaper, from a large newspaper to maybe being a guest on a radio show, to your own radio show, to TV appearances. I included an entire media kit in here for you. This is a sample of my media kit. And, of course, I include the book, and I include the testimonials, and I include the articles. But that's really how all of this works. It's really what's so important that allows you to be perceived as an expert. When the media just really wants a good story and a good hook. And the floodgates open up when that happens. So they want a hook, they want a story. It can't be about you, okay? But they want to know that you're reputable. And I found it easier just to, not fax them or email them or scan something to them or mail it to them. Just, call them up. They all have phones, believe it or not. So start with your local paper and then move up from there. Get them to write stories about you, and you can write stories for them. And, here is some good places you can go as well. PR Web and HARO.com. HARO.com is help a reporter out. These are reporters looking for stories. And, you could suggest a story to them. And of course, it will credentialize you. I mean, look at this, okay? So this is small town paper, okay? This is the Business Journal. This is another small town paper. This is the Baltimore Sun, the Big Kahuna. So they're all over the place. When you do this, always make sure when you're writing an article that you put a resource box. I'll share more articles with you in a second. And it's just a little bit about you and how to get in touch with you. Very, very, very important. If you don't have that, you're making, and this is what mine says. So you can go back to these slides. But Brian's author, blah, blah, blah. He's on NBC. His expertise is helping buyers out of bankruptcy. He has prepared free reports. You could put your phone number here, your email address. I'd rather not get the calls. I'd rather have the buyer go to my website. Here is an article about shaky buyers. But what's interesting is this is a newspaper for attorneys. Bankruptcy attorneys are reading it. See, very, very important. This is also an article in a small town paper. This is an article in another small town paper. This is an article I wrote in the Business Journal. Self-employed buyers now have options. They do. All these bank statement programs are now coming back into vogue. Not quite the same, but, things are loosening up a little bit. So here's another article in the newspaper. When you have these things, it becomes a preponderance of the evidence that you are the expert. So now you can start using these articles as testimonials and in all of your marketing pieces, or even as a standalone marketing piece. They also now go in your media kit. Do you see how all these things build on each other? I'm going to give you an enormous idea now, okay? You could start a mail column in your local newspaper. These strategies don't cost you a penny. And, you literally will earn hundreds of thousands of dollars. This mailbag, by the way, is a huge, huge idea. And basically what you do is you're going to call the paper and you're going to say to them, hey, and I'll give you the script in a little while. You'll have it in writing, but hey, I'm Brian Sachs. I'm a local mortgage expert, and I know that many of your readers, listeners, viewers are interested in mortgage and the real estate market. I would love to volunteer my services to you. I would like your readers to write in their questions, and I would be more than happy to answer them in your publication. Do you know what that does? That gives you an entire column each and every time that paper is published with your face, with your resource box. It's an absolutely enormous strategy, and it's win-win. So you could have your own radio show. You could have your own radio show or be a guest on someone else's show. And I know what you're thinking. Well, what if somebody asks a question I don't know what to say? Well, you want to print this slide then. So here's what I say. That's really a great question, Joe. Problem is I really don't have enough time to cover it in this short segment. So please call me off air and I'll be happy to help you. And what that does is it allows me to get my number out there very, very quickly and very gracefully so it doesn't sound like a promotion. Here's myself and my former partner, Sue Haviland, who's now a reverse mortgage expert. So here are 7 steps to having your own show. You got to choose the right station. You got to pick a name and a tagline. You have to choose a day and time. You have to negotiate the terms, build your show, get sponsors, and then you're live and you really are building relationships. So what you want, and I'll give you a little bit of each of these, what you want is to make sure you've got the right demographics. You don't really need a 50,000 watt station. The primary people you're looking for are ages 25 to 65. What I have found, the talk radio stations or ESPN radio are usually the best. Some names you can come up with: Your Home, Your Money, On the House. Senior Solutions would be for reverse mortgage, All About Real Estate, The Mortgage Maven. So here's a show that I helped create: Your Home, Your Money on CBS Radio, 1300 AM, real estate, finance, education, and entertainment. So you got to choose the time in the day. It's really important. You want to be Thursday evening, drive time is good. Weekends, are good. You'll never able to do morning drive, although you could be a guest on a show, or you could be having your mortgage minute playing. You got to negotiate. So, the big secret is you can buy the time slot. In most markets, it's going to be a 1 hour show would be $300 to $1,000 a week. And that's 54 minutes. You want to keep as much of that time as you can so you can resell it. And you want to make sure that the station is promoting your show during the week and putting it on their website and their marketing materials. You want to make sure you're breaking your show down into segments. You could have an intro for 10 minutes, what's happening in the world, open houses. Agent love that, by the way. They can call in with their open houses, or they can send you the open house, guest interview, call-in questions, success story of the week, and then questions and giveaways. And there's your hour show. So, you could also get sponsors for the show or guests who pay to be on your show. Always let your guests promote your shows and give them the recording so they can post it to their spheres of influence. Sometimes, you can even do like a live remote from a builder site or a home buyer fair. Let your competitors on with programs you may not handle. That's another benefit. But let's go backwards. Remember, we talked about the referral partners. Couldn't you have a bankruptcy attorney on? Couldn't you have an accountant? Couldn't you have an insurance agent? Do you see how this all works? Does it make sense? Because I'm going to tell you, when you put all of these pieces of the puzzle together, you will never, ever be short of business. You will never, ever be a one-night stand originator. It's huge. So, but again, they're looking, what's in it for me? So when I go to that accountant and I say to them, hey, would you like to be a guest on my radio show? Oh, really? You have a radio show? So that's the power. They now have a reason to promote you. So who could you be getting as sponsors and guests? Landscapers, appraisers, title companies, builders, realtors, home inspectors, movers, auction companies, attorneys, hardware stores, home improvement stores, radon, wells, septic. It's endless, okay? This is the promotion we did for our show when we went out to sell sponsorships, and these are the sponsorships. So, think about it. And usually they're going to make you make like a 12 to 20 week commitment. But when you think about it, you can actually be making money on the shows. It's really very, very important. And, you then want to build a Facebook page and get guests to it and a website. So when people are calling, they come right to the website. They can listen to past shows, and of course they can opt in. Or you can be a guest on someone else's show. So this weekend, listen to the radio, or in the evening on your drive home. Is there a lawyer? Is there an accountant, a financial planner, a realtor, or an insurance agent? They all have shows, and you could be a sponsor and a guest on theirs. But what happens is now you get to post a photo of you in the studio. You saw mine. You can put that photo on your website. You can say as seen on CBS, as seen or as heard on NBC, ABC. And you use the show as a door opener for those new partners. So again, if you don't know the answer, this is what freaks most of you out. If you don't know the answer, all you have to say is that's a great question. Problem is, I really don't have enough time to cover it in this short segment. Please call me off the air and I'll be happy to help. It saves you and it allows you to get the number out there. So, you can do a lot of other things with the show. You can send a recording of it out. You can post it on YouTube. You can post a copy of, record it on your phone and send the clip of it on Facebook and Periscope. There's just a million things you can do with it. But the key point here is I'm the expert because I claim the title. I barely graduated high school, and no one's ever asked me for my credentials. So, here is more information about radio shows and how you can just put this together. It's a really, really outstanding way to credentialize yourself. I love TV. Although I have a face for radio, I absolutely love TV. And if I can do this, folks, you can do this too. The real big issue is you want to talk in sound bites with no long answers. And just going backwards, remember, an article leads to a radio station. Radio station leads to TV. They're all intertwined. And, you know, people will want to work with you because you are the celebrity. When you celebritize yourself, you no longer have the rate question, and you no longer have to worry about any sort of lack of business because you are literally everywhere. I mean, look at this, okay? In 1 year, this is my segment on TV, 4,583 views. And that's just one place that it is. I included in here how to handle a live TV interview. If you can't get on your NBC or CBS station, go on PBS, on your public broadcasting system. Go on a Comcast show. I've done all of them. So, you know, make sure that you become friends with the producer and, you know, make sure you're building a relationship. Here's what to say. Here's what to wear. Here's what to do with your body. You certainly are welcome to watch my slots, what to wear, what not to wear, how to sit. You know, all of this information, of course, is in the member area. I truly encourage you to use all of this. Here's the media kit. Here's the survey after closing. Here's that certificate. Here's the postcards and the letter. Here's the whole process for after closing, that CPA endorsement letter, letter after the pre-qual meeting, listing agent letter. So it's all here for you, but, you know, use this 3-step recipe to make sure you aren't becoming a one-night stand loan officer. There's so many opportunities. So think about what those 3 main ingredients are. I'm giving you homework, okay? Create that database. Get those we've moved cards. Change your closing instruction sheet. Make the title company or the attorney get that customer survey at closing because, you know, 99% of the time that'll happen. Get those movie tickets. You know, just go through here step by step and start implementing WIFM. I'm sure you all know what that stands for, right? What's in it for me? Locate those homes magazines. They still work. They always will work. Use advertorials. Go to a sign company and get those signs made up. You know, check with your cable companies. Use that mortgage minute. Get your book. Use publicity. Fill out that media worksheet. Even if you never intend to use it, fill it out. You know, this is just really, really important opportunities for you to truly grow your business. And, you know, call the AM stations, call the FM stations, identify the ones to call. And, you know, having your own radio show, being on TV, honestly, there isn't anything stronger in the world. Read this if you're scared, how to get on TV and what to do when you get there. Those 3 minutes go by like it's 3 seconds. But think about this. If you have an article in the paper, what would it cost you if it was an ad? Okay, maybe it would be $1,000. And what's going to be more effective, an article or an ad? I mean, now you know the sneaky technique. You can use an advertorial that looks like an article, but it's an ad. A radio show. Think about the celebrity. TV. I literally, and I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, I literally have people stop me in the street and go, hey, you're the mortgage guy. What are rates doing? It's just another opportunity. For those of you that are a member of Boomerang Expert Program or a member of the Renters into Loans, you know that I have my TV spots right on the page for credibility. It's not arrogance, it's credibility. Oh, that's the guy from TV. I can't tell you how many times I get that and how many deals I get from that and how I can use that leverage with partners. Remember, when you are referring someone, make sure you call them. When you're going after a referral partner, make sure that they know that you referred someone and make sure that they have a newsletter that you can write for. Make sure that you have opportunities to continue that relationship. Do those endorsed mailings with them. So I think you've gotten a lot of information here. I hope the information is information that you use because the information in sessions 1, 2, and 3, I really couldn't have picked a better name. This gives you an unfair advantage But nothing happens unless you implement. So go ahead and implement. I'm going to have, always be watching your bonus section for more bonuses as they come. And I wish you all much success. I want to hear your success story. You can send them to brian@loanofficertips.com. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And I'm going to take some questions. Anyone have any questions? Okay. So,
Brian?
yes.
Hi, sorry, it's Denise, of course. Question for you. You've given us so much information, and it's all great, and clearly we need to go through it a couple times. But if there was like the one thing, to implement, because there's a lot of things, but you can't do everything at once, or then it's just going to be crazy. What would be the one thing of all the things we covered that you think would be the one that we could get the quickest bang for our buck? And I guess that's a cheater question, but I'm going to throw it out there.
Okay. So I appreciate the question. I understand the spirit in which you're asking it.
Thank you.
And I'm going to tell you that you couldn't be more incorrect. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Yes, I just provided a ton of information. Okay. And you're right about that. But success comes from massive action, not sequential action, massive action. And that goes, Denise, I know this is counter to what everyone else teaches you. Okay.
Yeah, that was a mind blower. That was good.
Everyone teaches sequential movement. Do step 1, do step 2, do step 3. Okay. I don't agree with that. Okay. I don't agree with it at all. My life has proven to me that it's absolutely 100% incorrect. Okay. There is no ladder, just leapfrog. So what would stop you right now from doing 5 things? One thing, you'd be surprised how much time we waste in an hour. Okay. So I just covered all of these things in an hour, by the way.
It's true.
So could you write an article? What time do you get up in the morning, Denise? I know I'm getting personal and that's okay.
That's okay. 6 o'clock.
Get up at 5.
Okay.
Write an article. Okay. Identify a radio station. Identify a referral partner. Look, to be honest with you, these letters, we can all find excuses why we can't get the letters done. Okay. And when I didn't have an assistant, the letters still got done, because if I got in at 7, it means I got in at 6. If I didn't come in on Saturday, this meant I came in on Saturday. And yes, that sucks, but it didn't stop me. Success comes from massive action. And I know everyone is selling the easy button. And the reality is that once you get this going, it does become easy and life becomes good, because now you can hire others to do this and you have a team. But until you're at that point, and even if you have a team, these are all things worth doing. They credentialize you. They give the partners. Here's what you could do in the next hour. You ready?
Yep.
Think of an accountant, attorney, and 2 other referral sources, and the church you go to. Do you go to church?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's obviously a priest, and you obviously have a relationship with him of some sort. Okay?
Okay.
He knows who you are. You know who he is, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do you know what the talk radio station is in town?
I'm embarrassed to say I don't.
Okay. Turn on your AM radio and listen.
Got it.
Okay. What else did we cover? Did you pre-qual anybody today?
I did not today, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, think about the last group you pre-qualified. Send them that letter.
Got it.
Did you take an app today?
Yes.
Send the listing agent a letter. Put them in your database.
Got it.
Okay. So now we're at a half an hour's worth of work. Does that sound reasonable?
I think you're a little faster than me, but I'll speed it up.
Oh my God, you're from New Jersey.
Yes,
You get
sir.
the
I'm
understanding of
sure.
what I'm saying, though, right?
I do. I absolutely understand. I'm so glad I had the courage to ask the question.
Well, God bless you. I mean, you are awesome, and I can't wait to share with the group, Denise, what you are. When is your event?
Um, it's it's next Wednesday.
Okay, so after that event, you and I are going to record a session. I think you agreed to it. And for the rest of the group, and Denise is going to reveal a very, very cool strategy. And at that time, she'll have results to share as well. But, how long did it take you to put that event together?
You know, it's funny. I couldn't not long at all is the answer. Not long at all. Not a lot of effort at all.
Right.
And I probably did it in between doing gazillions of other things.
Uh-huh.
And I had to hear you say what you said out loud. I always knew it was action, but the massive action and not sequential action. And the way you said that just blew my mind
Right.
and identified something that I've been looking for that was a weakness in myself. And I think I just found it.
Well, see the reality, and I'm thrilled to hear that, by the way. But success comes from massive action, not sequential. And I know there are several coaches in our industry, some I know extremely well, who are selling the easy button. Okay. Well, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I can promise you, at least in the case of three of the members who I personally coached, it took a lot of heavy lifting to get there. Okay. And it took a lot of massive action. And I witnessed the massive action they took firsthand. And yes, at some point it does get easier and it gets systematized and you can then just manage the system. But you got to build the system before you manage the system.
And that takes a massive action part. And I understand exactly the message you're sending me. I understand what you're saying to me. And I actually think that's where I went a little left. And you just unplugged something huge for me. So thank you.
Well, my pleasure. And I'm thrilled to help and I'm thrilled to have you here. And I can't wait to to share. And I thank you so much for being willing to share.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. I'm really excited, and I just want to share with everyone that what you are offering is so much integrity and honesty. And you know what? You hit it. There is no easy button. And anybody who's selling the easy button, skip the step of the massive action. And just in your question to me, like with the whole planning of what we're going to share with everyone,
mhm.
I wasn't doing it because I was waiting for the right time and the right place and the right this and the right that and there had to be this organized thing. And then from getting on your calls and your training and some other events happened that we'll share with everyone, it all came together. And I can say, like, yeah, there was time that I had to allocate, but it's amazing how you can allocate it within other objectives.
Right.
And I think that's what you just really, I hope everybody tonight grasped that, because you know what, the one thing about being a loan officer, it's you're doing multiple things at multiple times until you are large enough to add to your team. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. God bless you. I thank you all. I don't see any other hands raised, so I'm going to try to end the call since we're over the hour. But hey, a big breakthrough. So, that's awesome. Don't listen to anyone who's telling you you hit the button and magic pops out. It doesn't work that way, folks. Okay. As a marketer, it's a great thing to sell, but that ain't true. You've got to every day. And here's what I'm just going to say in closing. Don't try to eat the elephant in one bite because you'll vomit. You'll be sick. Okay. Even me with as big a mouth as I have, I can't eat the elephant in one bite. But once I got the elephant nailed down, I can take a chunk every day. And really what I do is I time block. And so if I got to get something done, and I'm going to share this with you all, folks, my life, you may not know the life story, and I'm not going to go into the whole life story here, but let me say this to you. When my back is up against the wall, which is often, that's when I succeed the most because I have to, okay? And it doesn't come from A, B, C, D. It comes from, fire, ready, fire, aim. Okay. I'm the complete opposite. I am fire. I'm ready, fire. I aim last. Massive action, even if you screw it up, is going to put you 100 times uh, faster to your success, and it's going to get you 100 times ahead of the person who's still planning. Most people plan and plan and plan, and they get paralysis because then another shiny object comes and another shiny object comes. I just shared with you what works in all three of these sessions, and in the sessions in Boomerang Expert, if you remember, and in the sessions of Renters into Loans, if you remember that. That's what I do every day, and it works. So I don't teach it unless I do it, and I don't share it with you unless it's working. So just take massive action. I promise you success will follow. Will it be pretty and perfect? Absolutely not. Will it work and make you successful? Absolutely. So go back to each of these sessions, implement, implement, implement. I can't say that enough. Even if you do a crappy job of implementing, still moving ahead, still moving forward. If you're coming up the New Jersey Turnpike, okay, and you stop to figure out what exit you need to get off at, you're almost never going to get there. You got to keep moving, moving, moving. If you get off at the wrong exit, turn around and keep moving. You'll still get there ahead of the guy who's sitting on the road looking at the map trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So go ahead. Lots of good luck. Thank you all very much. And I will share with you when all of the bonuses are added. So always watch your emails.